Hello and welcome back to Versus with Cash and Quill. And we are going to be talking about item tracking. The greatest thing in existence. Or at least that's my view. What do you think, Quill?
I don't know if I like how you pronounce my name. It's okay.
What?
A little emphasis on the Q there.
You think something's weird? Weird with what I'm saying?
Well, when it comes down to item tracking, I am personally of the opinion that important items should be tracked. Casual items, things that you would get just from a general shopping round, things that are from your component pouch, I don't really think they need to be tracked down to the minute inch of rope.
I see where you're coming from. The minor item can become that major item that you need if you are imaginative enough. When you have those moments where you're like, oh, would my character have this? If the DM allows it in the moment or does not allow it, it shows either it's completely based on his own current feelings of matters that concern what your character is going to be going through. But what do you think?
Personally, when it comes to item tracking, I don't think that every item needs to be tracked down to the nitpicky, like minute detail. I think if you're going to track anything, track the major items, track the MacGuffins, track the things that really would matter for the plot. But other than that, I think you're just really keeping players down when it comes to their creativity.
Down, or do you mean more invested? Because that is what is important in this game. I'm not here to make some simple little thing. I want to have a character that's focused and immersed in the world with real items that they can actually feel and touch. It's like running your hands through sand on the beach and letting the water rush between your toes. These things are minute, small, but important, and so is all the little gear that you keep, all the keepsakes, all those little things. Your character have them because it means something. It forms the character that they are, rather than just an avatar with main objects that it's like, I have this, and I have that. That is all. And anything that comes later, I will just assimilate into existence.
Mhm. So, what about those times when the session just cuts off and the DM forgets where they are and they didn't really give a chance to like buy items and like, oh, now you're in this, but you didn't buy anything, so it's your fault.
Okay, those moments, yes, can be very frustrating. But,
But
there's a but there.
a huge don't.
Yes, and it's going to go right between your argument and mine, and that is when you are a player, there is a certain level of commitment that you hope to have from your DM. And if you do have those situations where you are not finding the correct amount of opportunity into those things that you want to do, then maybe you need to be the one to remind him and say, "Hey, can we go shopping? Because it matters to you, because it matters to the game. Everyone has their faults, but you can't expect everyone to be perfect. So hopefully, everyone collectively either has putting in enough effort to know when to actually come into this.
So, but I like how you say just now that you can't expect everybody to be perfect, and yet you're demanding perfection so that they can play the game the way that you want.
I'm not demanding perfection. I'm saying when it comes to D&D, there's accountability. You have
Yeah.
notes, you have things that you can refer back to, having a general summary or a synopsis of what happened last time, where you were, that kind of stuff will help place everyone right back into it. We're talking about item tracking, but I think we need to remember that there's more than item tracking, there's also note taking, and that's super important because that helps keep you on track, or else you're kind of just going to be falling through a forest, floundering around instead of on a trail, and you all remember as you look back where you've come from and where you're going.
You're kind of not allowing that flexibility when it comes to things that you wouldn't know that your character would already know. So if your character is normally like, hey, yeah, I grew up in the swamps. I lived there for 40 years. I know them with the back of my hand. I would know that these are the things that are going to be coming up, and I would plan accordingly. And like, I'm going to get certain shoes. I'm going to get extra socks. I'm going to get these certain materials that are like they're life. They're for the life that's in there. But your player, who has lived probably in a city their entire life, doesn't know what the swamps are, has never been there, as just guessing. How are they supposed to know what your character would know? Because then you're getting into the argument of then every Arcana check is based off of what you know as a person, not what your character would know, because they didn't plan for it because you haven't studied.
I think it's a DM's job to lead the players. Now, if the DM's like, oh, they're going to be going into these things and they would have to go through all this stuff, these obstacles, this environment. I know this because I'm planning it. So, whoever your DM is, I think that it is important that they communicate the hardships of the future journey to the players. That way they can better prepare.
Yeah, but then you're just doing the whole I told you so moment when they don't realize that it's going to be dangerous to go alone. Hint, hint, wink, wink. That, oh, yeah, there's flying creatures that have death touch.
No,
Like,
no, that's the
well,
variable. But the constant is the environment. And they can be as prepared as possible, but then you can have the DM throw in some curveballs, make things fun, and all that.
yeah,
But
but what if your hints aren't hinty enough for the people? Because we always have like the gender difference between, oh, well, I say things and he doesn't listen.
oh,
Are you
okay.
just assuming that your players are going to read your mind and say, well, here's this? That just seems rude.
They
I
can
mean, like,
understand my words
yeah,
when
but
I say them.
yeah, but not the hidden meaning that you're putting behind them. I would know, like, oh, I need snowshoes because we're going into a swamp. Like, oh yeah, it's really snowy this time of year. Like, I told you it was going to be weird and different and out of the ordinary.
See, now that is a trap, a twist that would make environmental factors null and void for any kind of preparedness. But what I'm getting at is that there are certain amounts that would be given information wise pretty like objectively. Just like, hey guys, this is what's going to be happening. This is kind of the environment. You're in this area of the world. Let me just give you a little bit of a lowdown. Your characters would understand this, and you should know that this is a swampland. There's a lot of marshes. It's going to be difficult terrain, and there's a lot of different environmental factors that can hinder you. Or if you have the right gear, it can change a lot.
Yeah, but then what's stopping you from demanding that they keep track of their water intake? Like,
What's wrong with that? You
oh,
need to
how many
drink.
fluids have you ingested? How much have you urinated? Was your stool thick or thin? That's going to affect your hydration. So now, as you swing your sword, man, you're really dehydrated right now. So that's going to take a factor in your disadvantage. So have fun with that, player.
If you want to go into that much detail, I think more power to you. But I think there are certain things that are out in the book that you can actually put in easily that are in the general rules.
Yeah,
So
the book is unrealistic. Nobody plays D&D for the hyper realism.
it's a pound of food and a gallon of water a day. That's it.
That's still not realistic.
It really is. I've seen other content creators, I guess you could say. I've seen other YouTube channels where they actually go over and they're like, okay, this is a pound of food, this is a gallon of water, and I tried doing it, and it's totally worth it. And
But you're not going to be able to carry a gallon of water
you
with
refill it
you.
a day, so you
From what?
find water.
From what source?
It's a survival game.
Okay, so you're assuming that they're going to be able to find water.
What do you think? That's just like
So the DM is going to make up that they can find whatever they need for a water source.
that's part of the adventuring, the exploration. It's difficult. It's not super easy. And but guess what? When that moment happens, when the party is going into the wild terrain, the wilderness. Let's keep going with this theme. They go into the swamp and water sources are commonly contaminated. But guess what? He's not been super like great in social dynamics, but there's a character, the Ranger. And that Ranger has great survival, natural features that actually help in these moments. Boom! That character's able to really take a spotlight to this.
Because, every single party has a ranger.
Maybe not a Ranger, a Druid. Maybe a cleric of the I think it's like I can't remember the kind of domain, but there's actually like a forest or a nature. I think it's a nature domain cleric. Nature domain cleric, a druid, a ranger.
Relying on other. You're still making it so that the characters have to have a particular character with them in order to survive, or else they're going to have to roll 30 survival checks throughout the entire adventure just
Nope.
to find water.
One check.
One for the entire campaign.
No, just one per day.
Yeah, that sucks.
Or you get enough.
But you're also you're making the assumption that they'll be able to have something.
Okay.
So what? But you didn't pack it with you.
There's spells called create water.
But you're relying on a particular character class in order to be there, in order to survive.
There's a million different things. Magic items. There's a.
So you're going to have to give your players a magic item so they can survive in this area.
Do you want everything handed to you, or do you actually want to work?
Why wouldn't you just assume that things are available if the players have an idea? Or why not just assume, how many grams of bat guano do you have in that component pouch for the next time?
143, thank you.
Okay, and how many grams take up one spell?
None, because it's not consumed with the spell.
So you need to grab all 143 grams every time you want to cast the spell. And do you know what that's going to do to your hands? You're like,
gross.
I don't want to be next to the wizard. It smells like bat crap.
Yeah. Well, that's if you go with material components. There's arcane focuses. Again, item tracking doesn't need to mean that you have to pack every single thing. Just use the mechanics and the rules that are available to you.
So the DM should automatically give every level 1 character all that they need to survive.
No, you shouldn't. But
through magic items, of course.
An arcane focus only supplements the things that aren't going to disappear anyway. That don't have a gold value above 1 gold or any kind of gold value above. If it has a value, then you have to have it. And those are cool because they're really neat. They're textured. They're like things in the world that you're like, oh, wow, I have to have a brass bowl and so much herbs, coal, whatever it is, to make my familiar each time. And the process of doing this really kind of invokes this imagery in your head that just like, oh, wow, I kind of put the brass bowl. I have to do a lot of chanting or whatever you come up with because they leave it slightly vague for a reason, because they want people enough rules to keep everyone on a guideline, but not enough that it restricts your imagination. And I think that's the same way about item tracking.
I think you're restricting their imagination 100% by saying, oh, nah, you don't have that because you didn't write it down.
Yeah, no, accountability is a thing that should be taught in all avenues of life, including D&D. Give a man a fish, he's fed for the day. Teach a man how to fish, and he's fed for a lifetime. I think these are great examples of how you can have inventory, you can look it over, and let your imagination whirl with what you have at your disposal. You don't just say, I want this item. I think my character would have this item. And then it's just, oh, your item is there. And it's like, well, now you have exactly what you needed this whole time. Or you only had what you had, and you had to kind of combine what you had.
Yeah, but what? Oh, I'm going out on an adventure. I have rope, but I never got a grappling hook. What salesman wouldn't put 2 and 2 together?
What, are you climbing every wall you see?
No, I would think as a grappling hook would be a very useful tool.
Then maybe the shop owner says something in there.
Yeah, but you want to role play all of that every single time for every player?
They're not going
Even if you have 4 players, it's going to be exhausting. It's going to take up all your time.
They're all there, all at the same time. The character, the NPC is there, ready to lead them, and says, Oh, adventurers usually love to have these, and he pulls it out. Great roleplay opportunity right there to show the fun. See, right there, item tracking. Imagination. You see this grappling hook in my hand, this imaginative. Well, look at this. I have a grappling hook. Yes. So what I'm saying is, boom, they meet a shop owner and he says, you might want this. And he pulls out a four-pronged, almost like a fish hook. And he says, this is a grappling hook.
Yeah, and then you get to hear about 4 hours of dialogue about how he used it to catch a shark.
No. You just say most adventurers use these to get over walls and tie it onto rope. There you go.
Why is that the requirement? But you can't say, oh, yes, your adventuring pack comes with rope and such and such. Your background is a master in such and such, so of course you would have such and such at your disposal.
A master at such and such is a reach. You're starting usually at a low level characters.
Oh, come on. All level 1 players are basically gods compared to normal human beings anyway.
At most.
I went down to 0 HP, and all of a sudden, after 8 hours, I'm perfectly fine again.
Okay, the rules aren't perfect, but item tracking is what we're focused on.
I know, but that's if the rules aren't perfect, obviously item tracking is part of those rules.
No, item tracking is objectively just a thing that is necessary in everything. And that's why I think that item tracking is important. Because those little things matter. It's the little things that add up to big things.
I don't know, I think you're really stifling characters' creativity when you don't allow them to some flexibility when it comes to what they have in their pouches or backpacks.
I control none of that. They control everything of that. You know what's fun? When you pick up random crap and you track it when you put it in your bag and you say, oh, I picked up this little random stick that looked like this.
And you never look at it ever again.
That's fine. It's always there, though, if they need it. And it can eventually build up to become, hey, fun. Like, it's a comedic moment when you have so much stuff that it's just jammed inside your backpack. And now it's overloaded and you have too much weight. And it's like, dang. And then you go through it all, and it's like opening up a time capsule because you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot about this. Oh my gosh, yeah. And then, boom, they know what their gear is. They had a nice walk down memory lane, and here they are again, ready to go.
That's like, I think, saying, oh, as a DM, I'm going to put this obstacle in front of them because they have this item in their bag, and yet the player doesn't remember that they have it.
That's. How do I think about this?
Man, I mean, I don't know. What are you guys going to do? Because there's a solution. I'm just not going to tell you what it is because I can't get involved.
Okay, I see your point in that certain situation. But you say, oh, it looks like you might need something to get over this wall.
Yeah.
You say it in such a way that says, oh, you might need something that you could throw. Why would you give them everything? You have them have everything, or you could just say the simple thing of, why don't you check your inventories?
Man.
See what you have.
You sound like a wife. I'll throw that out there. I feel like I have to say that at this point. Like, but why don't you check your bag? I'm not mad.
No. One, I think for newer players, it would be good to have outlines and objects instead of trying to force them to come up with every little thing inside of this game. I think it's good to have those items written down so that I think it becomes overwhelming for a lot of new players because they see so much and they're like, oh my gosh, what are my options? And then you say anything, and then it becomes overwhelming. But when you have actual items written down, they're like, okay, I don't need to know everything. I have this box of stuff, and that's not overwhelming. I can focus at least on this little bit here. And that becomes more and more. And then it becomes something you can imagine where you're like, oh, I do this. And it's like, oh, I have this rope, but I don't have anything at the top. Or like something I can throw and hook onto the top of this huge embankment that we need to overcome or climb up. How are we going to do it? I have the rope, but then you still have imagination to be like, how can we do this? Or it's like, oh, I don't have enough rope. Wait. And it's like, I need more length of this. And then you look around, it's like, You could say make an investigation or make a perception check or an investigation, whatever it would be that you would want as a DM. And they're like, okay, you roll it and you say, hey, if your character's looking around and they're thinking, oh, I need more length on this, and you see some vines hanging from a tree, a certain type of tree, and
So you're
those
going to put all the creativity on the DM.
you can.
That's basically what you're doing is saying, oh well, I'll just put it behind a check, and then I'll tell them what they should do. And we're going back to the whole "you sound like a wife."
What I'm saying
I
is,
want you to do what I want you to do, and I want you to do it the way that I want you to do it.
what I'm saying is, if they couldn't come up with it themselves, you might be able to come up with something yourself and help guide them to that next step. The more experience they have with interacting with the environment and combining that with their preset gear that they have bought,
To be honest, there, man, I respectfully disagree.
and I respectfully disagree with you as well.
Anyway, that just happens to be how we feel about it. What do you think? Let us know down in the comments.
Let's know who's right.
And I have a pony, and I disagree too.
Teach a man how to fish, they live or they're full forever or whatever. They're
Teach a fish to bathe, and you won't rest a day in your life.
this conversation's really winding me.